We just did 7 weeks on the road, playing 5, 6 nights a week, driving 4, 6, sometimes 8 hours a day, sometimes through the night, sometimes no sleep. We had experiences where we played in Dallas and get out of a show at 2, 3 in the morning at a club in Dallas, and then we're playing in Austin the next day, but I have a television interview at 5 a.m. for the morning news. It's 3 hours away. You finish the show at 2 o'clock in Dallas. You drive straight to Austin. You haven't slept. And you do a television show in Austin, do a few interviews, and then you're loading in for your next show. And there's no sleep, you know. So it's a huge chore. But there has to be something inside of you that's driving you to do this insane, insane type of work. So the way that I adapt is, I think of it as a great opportunity. There's so many people, you know, that come to me all over the country and even in other parts of the world when we travel, and they're just so fascinated by what we're doing. And I realize now that it's just such a special thing to travel all over the country and all over the world. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want to share the joy of my personal experience with other people. I want to make other people feel better. I want to give something inspiring and uplifting to them. And I really feel like the music is just a front for that, actually. So that drives me. That keeps me going. And I think when you have that kind of inner drive and that inner happiness, you're okay without sleep, you know? You're okay with the challenge of the road. And when you feel like it's all one big great adventure, it gives you, you know, enough motivation to keep going. So hopefully that answers your question. The next one is, what is the thing you miss most about home when traveling? That's pretty easy for me. The thing I miss the most when I'm traveling is routine. I don't like that I don't have a routine when I'm on the road. I also don't like that, you know, I don't know what I'm going to get to eat, because I have a pretty strict diet, as do a lot of people in the band, because health is important. If you're not healthy, you won't be able to tour very long. I know many artists over the years, 3, 4 years, they can't do it anymore. Their health has gotten so bad from life on the road and from their diet. If you're eating fast food three times a day and that's all you're eating for 150, 200 dates on the road, you're not going to be so healthy. And if you're not healthy, you can't perform well. So I feel like that's one of the challenges of the road, and I miss making my own food. And Z there, our drummer, he cooks a lot at the home and studio. We love making our own food, so I miss that. I miss routine. I like having a routine. I would like, when I'm off the road, I want to get up at the same time. I want to go to bed at the same time. I want to know how my day is going to be structured so that I can get the most out of it. I think on the road, you have to be with the understanding that your routine's out the window. You might sleep, you might not sleep, there might be dinner, there might not be dinner. No problem. That's not why you're there, you know. I remember a quote or a story from Miles Davis, the great jazz trumpeter, and he was at a concert in New York, and one of the newer members of his band came up to him and said, "Miles, can you believe this spread they provide for us, whole, like, you know, buffet of all kinds of food?" And Miles just said, "I didn't come here for the food." You know? So that's the way I try to think when I'm on the road, that it's just about, you know, bringing joy to people's lives and handling the task at hand. But I miss the routine of being at home when I'm on the road. I miss people too, but actually being an artist allows you to see more friends and family than you might get to otherwise. Because we're going to all these cities, and I'm ending up seeing my families and friends in all these different cities all over the country. Normally, like, if you're not traveling, then you would have to actually find what you want to do with your, you know, 2 or 3 weeks or whatever limited amount of time. And usually that you just want to have for yourself and your family. So you may go years without seeing family and friends, right? So, who live in other parts of the country, but we get to make these rounds and see all these people, so I feel very blessed in that way. Third question here is, if you are holding a note, I assume this is singing. If you're holding a note, how do you control your breath? Well, one thing I'm still learning how to sing. I feel like I'm still becoming a better singer, even at 35 years old. I'm still trying to figure it out. One thing I've learned more recently in my career is that you have to really understand what your range is. And to do this, it's helpful to sit down at a piano and just start singing notes. Find out how low you can go and how high you can go. And then in between that, you're going to have a sweet spot. In between that range, there's going to be a group of notes that you sing the best, that come out the strongest. You can hold them longer. And while you're doing this, while you're singing the notes, find out at what point you have to pull air with your breath from a different location. In your sweet spot, you can sing from the chest and higher part of the abdomen. And there's a lot more power there. And then you'll find as you go along, at some point, the air starts getting pulled from your neck and your head. You're weaker there, you know. So when you find that sweet spot, you should sing more there. That's going to come across more powerfully. But at the same time, none of this really matters, because however you want to sing is all good. All that really matters is how you feel about it. I mean, we've heard all these Bob Dylan songs today. We love Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan couldn't really sing that well. But people love him, right? Because it's what he's all about and the stories that he's telling that matters the most. So, you know, that'll help you with singing, but at the end of the day, what's behind the notes is what's most important. So that's all the questions that I have before I step down. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to know or want to know about the band? Or yes, Trish.
I want to know how much money you're
Okay. Well, we've been playing over 100 concerts a year for the past 4 or 5 years. And I think that that's starting to wear on me a little bit. This year we will not tour as much. We did 7 weeks throughout the United States earlier this year, and my brother and I, we've been playing for over 20 years, and both our bodies are starting to struggle with that lifestyle. So my dream is that we record a lot more. Right now we have like 3 or 4 new albums in the works, but we haven't had the opportunity to give the time needed to finalize those projects. So my dream is to record a lot more music in the coming years and tour a lot less, but do shows that are the most meaningful for the most people. Not that we won't play shows, but that we can do less, but maybe reach more people by the kinds of shows that we're doing. Any other questions? Yes? The question is, where have we played where we get the most reception outside of here, obviously, right? It's interesting how nobody really knows how this happens. The first time we ever toured, years back, you know, we were going out, we were playing for like 5 people in some places. And then for some reason, we came to Norman, Oklahoma, and there was like 100 people waiting for us already. They knew the music, they knew the songs. We'd never even been to Oklahoma. I'd never even been to Oklahoma my whole life. You know, why that happened, I have no idea. But now there's different places where for some reason the music is just flourishing there. Colorado is one place. We just spent the whole week in Colorado, you know, and our last show was in Steamboat Springs. There was like 5,000 people, you know. We just did a show in Norman, Oklahoma the other week for almost 2,000 people. So some places, and in Wisconsin, we have, you know, we have a lot of people following the band in Wisconsin, almost more than in Illinois, you know. So I don't know why that is, but I observe that there's a different vibe in every part of the country, every community. From the way that people listen to the music to how they dance at the shows is different in every place in the country. People in the South, people in the North, people in Wisconsin, people in Chicago. People in Chicago like to do this. And when they're really into it, and then maybe they'll tap a foot, but You get some brave people who will be dancing on the sides with hula hoops, but they're the outliers. Any other questions? Yeah. The question is, how did me and Norm, our keyboard mandolinist, how do we start playing together? Norm knows better than me because him and my brother go back farther than me and him go back. They were at a graduation party one time. That's how they met. They both got invited. They both didn't want to go and both reluctantly ended up going, meeting at the party and talked all night about music and became close friends. And my brother, who sings and plays guitar in our band, he ended up producing a record for Norm and his band called Elroy with some other local musicians. And then my brother said, "Hey, Norm, why don't you join our band?" You know, so that's how it started. And then I met Norm, you know, through that way. Any other questions? Yes. Do I like my job? I'll tell you what. I honestly, folks, I do not consider this my job. Even playing music every day as a working musician, traveling all over the country, I don't see it as my job. I don't really think of art as a profession, even though obviously I'm a professional artist. But I think that art is a way of doing things. So when it's a way of doing things, it's not like it's segregated over here for this group of people who are the artists. Everybody is an artist who brings that attitude to whatever they're doing. You're fixing something, you have a choice. You just fix it mechanically or you fix it with, you know, love and appreciation and creativity. So I find that when I think of myself as an artist, then I want more money and I want other things that come with it, and then I struggle to write a song. Then I struggle to perform, and then I struggle with everything. So I love being an artist. I don't think of myself as a professional artist, only because I find that it creates difficulty for me to be creative. So it's a special privilege. And I think if you feel like you're called to make music or to paint or photograph or film or whatever it may be, I think you'll feel better about it if you always feel like, I'm doing this first because I love this thing. You know, so many people ask me, you know, how can I make money like you know, to live off of, you know, whatever I do, make music or make films or whatever. And first thing I said, I can think of 12 other ways that you can make money faster. You know, but if you really love what you do, most likely you'll be able to make a living at it, because that shines through. People want to see other people loving what they do. Isn't that it? I mean, why do you come to a concert? You come to a concert because you want to get away from everything, forget about everything, and just be immersed in the moment. Just feel that joy, and everybody's united. We're dancing, we're singing, all our problems are out the window, at least for the time being. You know, so that's what it's all about. Thank you for your question.